Good evening, everyone. It's Katie. Oops, hold on a second. All right, sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. We have got some updates in the Amber Portwood court case, and I've talked a little bit about it on Twitter. I have not done a video, so I figured we could start with this video. I am in the middle of construction in my house, so I am in my getting the bedroom torn apart, re-put together outfit right now. So let's just start now. So there's been a lot that's gone on, obviously, in the last few weeks related to Amber Portwood. And let's talk about what happened in court. So last week on the 19th, there was a new discovery filed by the prosecution, and they added evidence. So the discovery is evidence that would be used by the prosecutors to prove their case in a court of law. So, but then I realized, you know what? We haven't even gone through the basics of this case. And since many of you have a lot of questions, I thought, let's just start with the very basics here and just run down, get through it, be done with it. So here is what has been filed in the court case from the beginning. So on July 10th, which was shortly after her arrest, a no contact order was issued, and that was in relation to both her son James and Andrew. And then, on the 25th, they actually made a change they did an order granting. So basically what happened was the state requested for camera review of documents and the state to provide in part as specified by the court the CPS documents in its possession. So the state wanted to have any sort of document or camera review of any CPS documents, if she's having her supervised visitation, anything that would be written in those documents. If it's being videotaped, they want access to that video. And then in August, they filed a notice for a 310 report. On the 9th, they added a additional witness. So there's a new witness. Don't know who that is. And then on the 19th, which was last week, they added emails, audio, and videos. And then this part is really interesting, and this happened today, and that is correspondence to from, and this was filed in court, and it's the court will address correspondence from third party at next pretrial conference. So what does this mean? Well, couple things. We know that there were ring cams set up in the house because they had a security system. So according to the blast, there are three video cameras, 3 ring cams that the prosecutors have obtained in this case, which the prosecutors believe shows what happened on the night of July 5th. In addition to the 3 ring cams, there are over 20 photographs, according to the blast, that the prosecutors have added into the evidence. And then there is a audio statement from Andrew when he was interviewed by the police. Now, the interesting part here in all of this, though, is that they've added more audio, more videos, and emails that now the state believes further proves their case against Amber. So that's a lot, you guys. 3 ring cams, 20 photographs of the scene, including photos of injuries, and then Andrew's statements. And then imagine if the ring cams caught this all on camera. That's wild. And then additional audio, additional video, and emails. Now, perhaps the biggest tidbit here is the third-party correspondence. Now, this could be a couple things. It could be that someone wrote a letter to the court that was a third party and they wanted the court to consider something. Or it's more probable that one of the videos or one of the Instagram lives where Amber was screaming on Instagram and talking directly to Andrew could have been submitted to the court as evidence of her breaking her no contact order, because her no contact order actually has a provision in it that she cannot have any third party correspondence with him. That means she can't reach out to him via her, like, she can't have her mom call him to talk to Andrew about something that she wants him to say. Her brother can't reach out to him and talk to Andrew with words that she wants to have. She can't make a video where she's talking directly to Andrew on social media. She's not supposed to be using any methods of any communication to get in touch with Andrew. So with it being a third-party correspondence, it could be very well related to something that happened in relation to the no contact order. In the Instagram video, those were all forwarded to, I know plenty of my subscribers told me that they forwarded that contact information to Andrew, and it would be unreasonable for us to consider or even think that once he got that he didn't send it to his attorneys. So it's likely that maybe his attorneys or somebody submitted it then to the court, and now the court will look at it and talk about it at the next pretrial conference, which is on October 10th. Interesting. If it's breaking of the no contact order and they determine that she's broken the no contact order, that's not good. That could be like, she could be they could basically just put her into jail because she can't stop talking to him. Now, that's all speculation at this point. That's all alleged. That's my opinion, so please don't take that as fact, but that's my best deduction as to what this could be. Otherwise, it's somebody writing a letter to the court, which doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at this point. So, for many people that have asked like what the evidence is, there's obviously a lot. Video is pretty damning, especially if it's being caught from a surveillance camera, like a Ring camera. Audio is going to be pretty damning. If there's any like emails where she is making threats to him, those would be extremely damning. If there's any witnesses to the abuse, that would be very damning. So there's been a lot of speculation on social media that she's somehow going to get off with a slap on the wrist. And I'd have to say that I don't agree with that. I've done a lot of talking to just a ton of people, like involved, not involved. I haven't talked to the direct parties, obviously, but to get a sense of like what this would look like. And because this is her second offense, which involves a child. Now it's very different because when it comes to children, the court doesn't have a whole lot of patience in terms of like, they might be more likely to give second chances if it's just adult on adult, which is really stupid if you think about it. But in this case, this is the second time that she's done this in front of a child and put a child's life at risk. And in that case, because of the fact that they have added a charge of the use of a deadly weapon, it's really unlikely that it's going to be a no jail or a no prison sentence if she's convicted. She's facing up to 7.5 years. And a rumor has been swirling in her support group on Facebook, which is filled with a lot of very enthusiastic stands, that the prosecutors are hoping to get her to sign a plea deal. But according to this page, and again, I can't verify the authenticity of this, Amber doesn't want to sign a plea deal and literally thinks that she is going to get off. That statement is consistent with things that I've heard from people connected to her that have or know her, that she doesn't think that there's enough in this case and that she will get off. So she apparently, according to the support group, doesn't want to take it, but her attorney is eagerly trying to get her to take the plea agreement and advising her not to go to trial. So if that's true and your attorney's like, dude, take the plea agreement, and again, all of this is alleged, if that's true, then that means there's a lot here. Attorneys don't generally tell you to plea out on something unless they don't have a good case, or if they think that you'll get a better deal or you have a higher probability of getting a conviction. So if they know that there's a lot of evidence and they know that it's probable that you could be convicted, they might say, you know what, take the plea deal because you'll get a lower sentence. And in a plea like this, I'm guessing they would probably ask for her to serve at least 2.5 years, maybe a year and a half. The standard sentence for this type of offense, the average is 18 months. And she served 17 months in her previous sentence when she was convicted of these with Gary, which, by the way, she already has 2 felonies. And that's another problem here, is that she's a habitual offender, meaning the court is unlikely to give her a plea again or give her a probation, because she's already shown that she's not like worth the probation because she's at risk of committing a crime again. They aren't as patient with habitual offenders, especially those that are felons. So, this is, and then there's the whole 3 strikes you're out in Indiana as well. So, and that depends on if they would look at the 2 felonies that she has as strikes 1 and 2, if they look at that as the same. And then if they were to add any of these, she would have 3 strikes, all related to the same type of crime. Now, there was also some questions about her previous charges with Gary. Now, there were 2 felonies that she pled to, and then she had, when she was initially arrested, and it was back in like 2010, there was also the added drug charge, because when they searched her house, I guess they found some, I think, medications without a prescription, which is how all of that stuff with her ended up with her being in drug court and giving the probation. And then as long as she can stay clean, and, you know, with the assumption that the drug use was contributing to the violence. And then, you know, she ended up violating her probation. They brought her back into court. She violated again. So after the second violation, the judge actually put her into prison instead of allowing her to continue into drug court. Now, she says that she just gave up and decided that she was going to go to prison. Who knows? That's what I have on this case at this moment in time. In relation to, I'm trying to think what else I've got here. There's also been some misinformation related to, will MTV be filming Andrew and what's going on with filming with Amber. I told you last week, based on my source, that Amber has been filmed. She was filmed in court for her first initial appearance, which the MTV says the girls all flew themselves to go support her. Not MTV says, but I said that maybe MTV sent them there, but it's alleged that the girls of this, how do I say this? Not MTV says, because I don't talk to MTV, that the girls, I said, well, it's probable that MTV might have sent them in a view of support. Now, it's also probable that they might have just flown down themselves, and that might be the story the network wants to say. Who knows? The girls were there. It was all filmed. So that was filmed, and then there's been some minor filming with her, but she can't talk because there's a gag order in this case, and there's also the no contact order, so she can't really talk about Andrew. So there's that. Then there's some misinformation about if Andrew could be forced to film by, if Andrew could be forced to film at this present time. My understanding is that he will not be filming, and it is due to the ongoing legal case, and that he has not filmed, and that because his attorneys are saying that he can't film, there's not anything that can be done on this side. At least that's what I'm hearing, allegedly, that MTV could do to force him to film. Thus far, he has not filmed at all for the season. So Gary and Christina will be featured, and then small bits and pieces of Amber, but so far there's been no filming done with Andrew. And with the ongoing legal battle and his attorney saying no, it's unlikely that Andrew will film. So that's where we are at with that. And I just got a message that Amber's first case was her first strike. So she only has 1 strike. So therefore, they would have to decide if they were going to count this as 2 strikes for her to be 3 strikes, you're out. So we have that answered. Her first case is 1 strike. So this next case could be her second strike or it could be her third strike. I don't know how they're going to work this out. There's 3 different charges. It would be up to the court. They can charge them as, they can be nice and do it as 1 strike, or they can be a total jerk and every single count that she has can count as a strike. It really ends up being what the judge wants them to do. So, yeah, exactly. They can separate the charges. Thank you very much for that, Tanya. So, this is where we're at. If you guys have questions, I hope this clears up the stuff about will Andrew film, what's the evidence, who's going to be, what's going on, what's testifying. I'm going to be really interested to find out what that third-party contact was. If it was her Instagram Live, which I have a video in, and I can link it in the pinned comments, you can review it again. She was threatening him a lot. I've heard, now I can't say this is for sure, that she's actually doing really good and doesn't seem to be sweating this at all. But again, Amber doesn't seem to be able to show any sort of remorse. And I have made contact with a clinical psychologist, a doctorate in clinical psychology, that has agreed to sort of sit down and sort of talk about what these diagnoses are, what kind of diagnoses this could be without diagnosing her, just helping us better understand what are these things that she says she has and how that would impact somebody. But the clinical psychologist that I spoke to was very, very, very clear that BPD, especially the clients that she has worked with, and she says she has treated hundreds, typically are not violent. And so violence is not a product of it. However, if she has other antisocial behaviors, or if she's on a spectrum, meaning there's a cluster B where there's 4 different personality disorders that are all together. It's like psychopathy, sociopathy, which is antisocial personality disorder, narcissism, and BPD. And a lot of times people have overlapping of all of them or little bits of each one of them. And then one of them is given as the one that fits them best. But if they have other aspects of it that are, say, antisocial or psychopathic, there can be violence in there, or it could be a rage disorder, or it could be a choice of a learned behavior she's picked up from life. So, but she was very, very, very clear that she was like, we really need to be like making people that have people that don't understand these disorders, understand that like this behavior that she's exhibiting is not typical with borderline personality disorder. That's what she said. And I'm going to work with her to get her on a stream where you can talk about it more, but she's got a lot of years of experience working with these types of patients, and that's where we're at. So I will be back later. She has not been diagnosed with multiple personality disorder, but Barbara, as far as I know, I will be back later, and we will figure out where we're going. If you have questions about what's going on, if you are concerned about chat rules, we have chat rules that you can serve. I'm getting notes in my inbox about issues with moderators. If you have questions, reach out to me. If you want to understand what the chat rules are, make sure you check the Google's Drive that are shared multiple times during the live chat. And if you have any tips, suggestions, or things that you want to go on, let me know. There was actually just a podcast released today with Janelle Eason talking to the Hollywood Life and discussing the court case. And I haven't decided if I'm actually going to do a video on it. And if you'd like me to do a video on what she said to the Hollywood Life about the court case, let me know in comments. All right, I'll be back later. Thank you guys. Bye.